Hey, everybody. It's Honor here. Say hi when you come on. I'm coming on 3 minutes late. I was just checking to let in the last few ladies who wanted to catch the workshop. I sent out an announcement. So excited to be here with you. It is Wednesday. We're doing a Wednesday workshop. So a little manifestation of mine to have that alliteration happening, which is exciting. Hey, Alexis. Hi, Lori. Okay, lovelies, tell me, some of you, I know where you live when you come on, but come on in for today's workshop, how to get the best outcomes when your kids are being, or your kid is being a butthead. So, hi, lovelies. Hey, everybody. Okay, so when you come on, say hi as these lovely ladies are doing, and then just tell me where you are. Tell me where you live. That's it. Tell me where you're listening from. So you can give me city, and state if you're in the U.S. Or country, region of the world. I know some of you are not in the U.S. So tell me where you're listening from. Drop it in the comments. Awesome. Hi, everybody. And today we're just going to be cracking into such an awesome topic. And I've talked about parenting before. I help women to move out of anxiety and overwhelm and the things that the mess that creates in our lives as mothers. And in my group program, Awaken Motherhood, I'm helping women often with parenting because it is a massive piece of the puzzle, and some need to focus on it more than others. But it's just one of many aspects of how we heal ourselves. It's one path of several different ones that we can take that create a lot of deep healing inside of us. And I've been to some very dark places and through the fires myself, and am just so clear that it's a part of my soul's path and purpose, my life purpose, to help as many of you, women and moms, as possible to really shift your interpretations of your experience and your perceptions of yourself and parenting so that you can show up differently, better, stronger, calmer, more intact for your kids, and mostly for you, so that you can really enjoy this life you're here to live. That's what it's supposed to be all about. It's not supposed to be about martyrdom and self-sacrifice. It's not supposed to be about just giving ourselves up for them so they can have a good life. It doesn't work in the end. They wind up feeling really, having a big missing piece inside because their mother wasn't happy. And so many of us have survived that. So many of us have experienced what it's like to grow up with a mom who was not self-satisfied or self-realized, or with a father who was angry because he was living in lack and sacrifice. And we don't want that for our kids. I don't want that for my kids. So you can decide for yourself. Hi, everybody. I'm looking over at the comments. I'm so excited they're working today. Okay, we've got Kristen from Connecticut, Heather from North Carolina, and Dawn, who just survived a big storm in Texas. I'm so glad you guys are okay, and sorry about your chicken. And Lori from Michigan. I'm so excited that you're all here. Let me know where you're from when you come on. That's your first assignment. And so many of you can see that you're living in the same areas. It will be fun. So today, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you an overview quickly. We're going to break down two of the very biggest pitfalls in parenting. These are big pits that we fall into as mothers and get lost in, just completely lost in. We can't see the forest for the trees when we're in these two places. So I'm going to break those down for you and help you to see those differently starting today. And these will be practical shifts that will help you in tangible ways in your life now. If you haven't heard me say it already, if you haven't listened to my masterclass that's in this group, I'm going to be posting an updated version of one soon. So check that out in the next, as soon as I can remember to do it, day or two. The biggest piece that informs our parenting, that impacts our relationships with our kids, that determines whether we'll be happy in our marriage or in our job or in the city we live in, it's not the outside circumstances. It's not the conditions. It never is. Our mind tells us it is. We think it is. Our ego is whispering in our ear all the time about we should change this and this isn't working. And we overanalyze it and we spin in doubt and we spin in problem solving mode. But if you notice, we never land on one like awesome feeling solution. And solutions feel good. That's why they are different from the problem. That's how they're different. Solution is not sort of like, just like a thing to do or an intervention or a technique or whatever. A solution, when you're in solution energy, it feels the opposite from problem focused energy. It is about abundance. It's about feeling free. It's about having choices and knowing what they are and seeing them and being able to make them without a lot of angst. It is about knowing how completely blessed you are in any moment and every moment, and really truly believing that your life is getting better and better every day. These are what solutions feel like. So when you're stuck in the problem, you don't have access to that. And what most of us are thinking is, let me rearrange my life. Let me read this parenting book. Let me listen to this podcast. Let me try to digest these interventions and do more connected parenting or do more positive parenting. Or let me just praise them a lot and see if that helps. Or let me just get my Zen on. And like any one of these things might be a really important strengths-based tool for you to use, but none of them will actually create solutions when used willy-nilly without a plan and a structure and without you actually learning how to hold the energy of what you're wanting, which is internal. It starts first on the inside, then it shows up on the outside, and then it shows up in your kids. So I'm here because I want you to feel free. I want you to feel free to be who you are and set the boundaries you need and recognize and honor your needs and not ever, ever, ever apologize for having them. Never. Not to your kids, not to your partner, not to your boss, not to your clients. I want you to never feel bad for a half a second that you have emotional needs, physical needs, mental needs. We all have them. We're in a time of coming into ownership of them, and that means we're going to stop apologizing for them. So our kids need these lessons as well. They need to know that they also do not have to apologize for who they are, and that they can realize the truth of their being. And when we own the truth of our being, which is maybe it's different for each of us, but globally, we can say that the truth of our being is connected to infinite self, is abundance. And abundance is love. It's sometimes forgiveness. It is having and being and doing more than enough. It's knowing we are more than enough. We want our kids to know these things. There's a lot, we joke, I've worked with spirited kids for a long time, and parents now of spirited kids for a long time. And we joke that we want our, especially our little girls, we want them to be fierce and strong. And like, it just makes our job 10 times harder. It just makes this whole parenting gig, it takes us to the next level. That's my reframe. It takes us to the next level. This is how I've become such an expert in my field and sharpened my capacity to help other women out of their darkness, is because my girls know how to bring it. That is why they're here. They're here so that I can help you. I have zero doubt about any of that and how this works. And I just love that is the way it is. Not in every moment. Like yesterday, you saw my post where I was ready to go home. I was tired. And we were sitting after school pickup for 45 minutes, and because they're being nasty. And I have a rule that they may not bring nastiness into the contained space with me, whether that's my vehicle or the home. It's a boundary. So someday, in another part of this series, we can talk about setting boundaries and that. But what I know to be true is that until you are really boundaried within yourself around your own way that you love yourself, in your integrity of living the truth of who you are, speaking that truth of who you are, and there's some work to be done there for most of us, then we can't really set healthy clear boundaries with our kids because we don't even know what's up. We don't know what we want. We don't know how to do that. We will second guess ourselves. We will be wobbly in our energy. They will smell it. They will just fight back with us. Okay. So I'm not going to go there today, but what I am going to do is lay out the 2 parenting pitfalls. And then what I'm going to do, I have so many notebooks where I've been planning this workshop. This is part 1. We'll do the Q&A where you can submit questions to me in a part 2. But you're free to drop them in the chat at the end today. We'll do that. So we'll go over the pitfalls, and then at the end, I'm going to give you an affirmation. This is one I use in my own life. This is one that brings so much joy and peace to me, my heart, which means it brings peace to my family and my home and my husband. And if you're wondering, if I were to do this work she's talking about, would it really make a difference for my cranky husband? Would it really make a difference for my wife, or the mood in our house, the vibration, the mood in our house? Would it actually really is working on me? Am I that powerful? Is my work that impactful? The way I think, the beliefs I hold, the emotions that I'm fostering and nurturing in me. Am I really that powerful that I could change my marriage? Could that really change my marriage? Could it really elevate the mood in my whole house? Could it actually help my kids with special needs? Could it actually? Yes. So you can ask your questions in the comments if you're not sure about that. But yes, absolutely, and 100%, because you are either vibrating, focusing on limitation, lack, not enough, stressed out, overwhelmed, spinning too many plates, distracted all the time, not able to focus, pretending you're listening to your kids, but the plates are spinning. You're not really hearing it at the end. They know you didn't hear a word they say, and they go, "Did you hear me?" Has that happened to you? They call you out. They know it, and they're going, "Mom's not present." So when you learn to get present, then everyone else clicks in and tunes in a different way to each other, to you, to themselves. Okay. Hi, Ellen. Hi, Kara. Hi, Jennifer from Florida. We've got somebody from, let's see. Hi, Martha from Kansas. Miranda's from Arizona. Kara's coming from Pennsylvania. All right. And Ellen from the state that I'm in at the moment, California. You guys tell me where you're from. When you come on, say hi and drop in the comments. And I love the emojis. Drop me an emoji. At the end, I'm going to share the affirmation with you. So let's dive into the pitfalls now. So there are 2 really big ones I've been working, I've been seeing and witnessing and helping parents work through and get to the other side of for about 15 years. And these have evolved over time. And my work with these as a focus has deepened so much in the last 2 years. And I really, truly believe it's because there's more energy here to support this work now, meaning there's more spiritual help and support available. This is a part of higher purpose. This is coming up in lots of people's hearts, and you're just ready to hear it. So let me know if these resonate for you. If you'd like me to explain them in a different way, I can do that too. So the first pitfall, are you ready? The first one, and you guys might be dropping in the chat, and my chat froze up. I don't know. I hope that's not the case. Somebody drop something in the chat and can keep it rolling here. So, and tell me if I'm still on. It says it's still running, but sometimes it freezes up. The first pitfall, okay. So many of us think that our kids belong to us. I sort of want to giggle when I say this out loud because it's funny. It's funny that this is how it feels in the human experience. Okay. So when I started deepening my spiritual path, I really understood why so many things felt painful still in my parenting world. And so many of the places where I had blocks, meaning where I was losing my stuff, where I was getting angry, where we were getting into power struggles, where I was just digging my heels in and they were digging their heels in. Underneath all of that is an assumption. It's unconscious. It's deeply buried. It's funny when you say it out loud sometimes. We think our kids belong to us. So it's very fundamental and it's very buried in the deep unconscious, but this is a powerful belief that will create so much chaos, so much pain, so much power struggle and drama and chaos in your life with your kids. So we think things, this is how it shows up. We think things like, they should behave a certain way. I must be doing something wrong because they're not doing XYZ. Or they are, having a mind of their own. They're asserting their own will. They are just being defiant or disobedient. And we see our role as disciplining them. We see our role as, and what is discipline? So you guys tell me, what do you think discipline, what do you think of, or in other words, what comes to mind when you think about the word discipline? Like, what actually is that, and what does it even mean? I would love to hear from you. Okay, good. People are still, my chats are still coming. All right, tell me in the chat now, and I know there's a little delay. And this is very cultural word too. I just want to say that, like, there are some cultures where that is not a word in the parent, in parenting, that some cultures identify more with connection or supporting our kids, or not wanting to. There's a lot of schools of thought in parents now who'll say, like, I don't want to squash her spirit. I don't want to squash his spirit. And then what you get is a kid with no limits and boundaries who really needs it and is asking for it and begging for it and craving, but the parent has sort of lost the reins and doesn't have a big picture of how this is supposed to work. So, okay, discipline, teaching. Okay, to teach. I've got two teachers. Any other ideas? So discipline is different from teaching. Discipline connotes control. And teaching is just teaching. Teaching is awesome. Teaching is, I'm going to let my kid learn through natural consequences. I'm going to help them think through problems so that they can come up with their own solutions. Teaching is certain actions lead to certain results. And teaching is modeling. We teach our kids by modeling behaviors to them, by modeling how we manage our emotions, how we navigate our thoughts and emotions. Any other comments? Guidance, guiding. So I love it because you all are on a conscious path already. Everyone who's answering here, your answers are beautiful reflections of connected parenting and conscious parenting. What we want to be doing is guiding our kids. We want to be teaching them. We want to be offering them our wisdom. We want to be giving them plenty of space to figure it out for themselves, and then being there when they're crushed that things didn't work out. That part's easier. What's harder is when they're furious that things didn't work out and they're throwing things. And then what do we have to do? We have to teach them it's not okay to throw things, and that's not right, but stay calm ourselves. We have to not join with them in the energy of total chaos and overwhelm, right? Is that part making sense? So, yeah. So Lori's giving an answer. Discipline is a consequence that we impose for behaviors we want to correct. So in emotional language, what we're saying is, I'm trying to control my kid because I feel so out of control witnessing and being in the energy of these chaotic, disorganized behaviors. Okay, are you with me? Does that make sense? So it upsets us. So we want to discipline them to get them in line. We want them to be the kid that we want them to be. We want them to, and we tell ourselves stories like, I want them to be able to function well in the world. What's it going to be like when they grow up? Are they not going to make friends? Or how are they going to go into the world? If she's like this at 9 or 10, how is she ever going to go to college? Well, they're not in college now. And the world will teach them how to make friends. The world is a great teacher. It will reflect back to them everything that they're feeling inside and being inside. So that will help them. And we can then help them to create from their core of really knowing who they are, their authentic self, which is what we are helping them to get in tune with. So you probably can smell it already, but discipline is a very limited word. It's a word about controlling from ego and trying to get kids to do and be what we want them to do and be. Okay, so it comes from a deeper rooted big pitfall in the mind. This is a mental shift. This is a mindset, a belief that a lot of us hold inside, which is that they belong to me. My kids belong to me. And so it's on me to make them be good, whatever that means, to make them be good. I'm saying it in a really kid way. So we parent, when we're in this pitfall, we parent from a place of not enough. It's about lack and limitation. So we're parenting from the energy of not having enough time, ideas, resources, support, energy, and the truth, the highest truth here. And what I know is 100% true for me, and I'm teaching my kids all the time, is that they belong to them, and I belong to me. That the only person who belongs to me is me. And so therein, I have a pretty big responsibility, because I've chosen to bring these kids into this planet with me, this life experience. And now that I've done that, I have a pretty big responsibility to belong to me consciously, meaning what are my behaviors and actions? What are the things that are flying out of my mouth when I'm parenting? What's going through the back of my mind when they're trying to tell me something and I'm not there? And how's that feel for them? Because I'm not owning my stuff. Okay. So tell me if this is making sense. Lori says, it sounds so wrong to type. It should be a guiding, but I have operated under wrong thinking patterns from my own experience. So I just want to encourage you to love yourself a little more. And instead of saying I've been under wrong thinking patterns, what you've been under is patterning that other people introduce to you. And I'm introducing new ideas that, if they are true for you, more true for you, they will feel better than that old patterning. Okay. So nothing is right or wrong. Anything can be. It really can be. And whatever we see as true is true for us. And it's obviously subjective and a difference of interpretation for each one of us. We all come from a different set of experiences and parenting, and we bring that to our kids. So, but the more conscious we are about it, the more we can actually make decisions. Everything is a choice. We're either choosing old patterns that our parents gave us, or our culture or society gave us, or we are choosing consciously to shift that into something that is aligned with our hearts, which is our highest self, the truth of our being. Okay, are you with me? And does this make sense? I just want you to be careful about, instead of saying I'm wrong, because right and wrong is very black and white and split thinking. We want to be like, I did the best that I knew how to do then. I've always been doing the best that I knew how to do, and I love me for that. I talk to myself like this all the time. Gosh, I was just a mess right then, but I really was doing the best that I knew how to do, and now I know better. And I'm so grateful for my teachers and for my guidance and for for God who holds me and carries me, and for my angels who work with me. And these are all of my people, beings of light, and for my community. I'm so thankful for these things. Whatever you are seeing and feeling now is a result of you opening up to receive it. Okay, so the truth is our kids belong to themselves. You can get out of this pitfall if you start massaging that new idea today. What would it be like if I knew that they came for them? What would it be like if I knew I came for me? That I actually wasn't put on this planet with zero purpose. Or a lot of people hide behind this in motherhood. I might get in trouble. This might make you mad, but a lot of people in motherhood hide behind. They stay in smallness by saying my whole purpose is for another human being, meaning to be a mother. And it's tricky, because where are you in that equation? Is there any ownership and responsibility of what you're here for and what you're here to do? And if you're here to just give 100% of yourself away, then I don't know any realm in which there is satisfaction and fulfillment there. I just don't think that that's possible within the human experience. Maybe in another realm that I don't know of, or I'm not aware of in this moment. But see what you're see where you are with that, and see where your belief is as you really let this soak in today, around, do you think that they belong to you? Do you think they belong to them? Okay, or they belong to God? And when I say I belong to me, and when I say my kids belong to themselves, I'm not leaving God out of that equation. I'm just um, I'm simplifying it down to the core. For me, spirit, or God, or the universe, these are all interchangeable words. And honestly, I don't care what you call divine intelligence, and hopefully you don't care what I call it. But or Mother Earth, but the connection we have to ourselves is through that. So it's all interwoven, cannot be separated. We are extensions of divine energy and divine love. We just mostly have forgotten that, and we forget when we're in moments of parenting, and we just go into our lower self and try to control things. I'm going to tell you about the second pitfall now. Okay, so we've got the first one. Okay, Martha says, I couldn't wrap my mind around the idea that my children belong to themselves until I really owned that I belong to myself. Yes, thank you for saying that. And Martha has worked with me, and she's got it now. When you get that shift, and you get it in your body, you get it in every cell of your being, that I belong to me. I belong to me. I'm not here for anyone else. I can serve them and love them. I mean, here's a great example of that. Like, I'm here. There are thousands of you, and I'm here to help you. And I'm not getting anything out of this. This isn't a transactional share that I'm doing here. This is, I'm here to love. I'm here to serve. In the same way, we're here to nurture and love our kids. We're here to teach them what we know, because it feels good. It feels amazing to have someone's light bulb go off because of something we've done, right? It feels important. It gives us a feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment and purpose, but it isn't the whole pie. The whole pie is you connecting with you and belonging to you. Then we can help them to do the same. Otherwise, the boundaries are all mixed up and tangled, and it's a mess. That's pitfall one. Number two is, we think, another thought form that gets us into trouble, we think that they are extensions of us. And I could say this so many different ways, but I'm saying it in the way that I think will come across. If that doesn't click with you, we see them as reflections of us. That might resonate. Let's make it concrete. So you may have a worry about how your kids act in public or around the grandparents or extended family, because you see that as a reflection on you or your worth. It is about worthiness. It is about not having completely fulfilled and healed our worthiness and owned our abundance, which is our birthright, but it takes work to do that. And so if you think or see, you think of your children or see them as extensions of you, as a reflection of you, and you might think of it as like, someone's going to think that I'm doing a terrible job as a mom. Oh my gosh, what are they going to think of me? I'm so embarrassed. I'm so ashamed. I can't stand for my kid to act that way or say those things, or it's so embarrassing that they're just not, that they're struggling, and they get a little older, you can see socially where they're struggling, you can see academically where they're struggling, or they're just awkward, or they're different, or they're never going to hit those milestones and be sort of average, normal, typical. They're never going to be neurotypical. All these things that bring up so many feelings in us. If we are connecting that to our sense of self, our identity, and our worth, which this is a segue from pitfall one, then we're going to live in a whole host of thoughts and feelings and experiences, and that will produce a whole ton of evidence that it's true, that we are not the right mom for our kids, that someone else could do it better, that we shouldn't be here. We will daydream about not being here, about escaping this reality. We will daydream about them being better off without us. If we hold this belief, we will judge ourselves so harshly, and probably project that onto our kids and judge them very harshly for stepping outside the lines, for not behaving, for not fulfilling our expectations, for not falling in line into the mechanisms we are using to try to control them. We will stress out. We will leak energy all over the place, waste energy trying to worry about what other people think about us, about how we're doing, about who our kids are, about who they're becoming. Okay, instead of just being like, middle finger to all of you who have a who have a judgment for me, and that goes away when you release the judgments inside of you against, guess what, not your kids, against yourself. And that comes from, again, like, thank you so much, Lori, for your point. It comes from early old patterning. We didn't just come from spirit, from the infinite, with a backpack on, including judgments, and maybe we did, I don't know. These aren't things that are a part of our essence, our true essence, our truth, our being, our heart. They aren't a part of the divine love essence that we really are. So we learn them here. We pick them up in this life experience. We picked them up from day one, intuiting our parents and what they expected of us and the energy that they held. And they imprinted their energies onto us. And we made that a part of who we are. And those energies became thought forms. And now we feel them in our bodies, and they cause us pain and chronic pain. And then our immune system picks them up and interprets them and turns them into autoimmune disease, turns them into anything, dis-ease, anything out of balance. That's because the anxiety, the overwhelm, the self-judgment, the harshness, the fear, the worry, the self-doubt, all of those things are not the truth of who you are. So they're going to cause you pain and upset. They're going to hurt you. They're going to hurt your body. They're not the truth of who you are. They're not the highest path for you to raise your kids in, for you to influence your kids in there are better ways. So when you think of when you think of them as an extension of you, a reflection of you, you will tiptoe or walk on glass, just hoping that they turn out okay. Hoping they turn out okay. Don't ruin it all. Don't go down a wrong path, at which point you'll have to disown them and say, that has nothing to do with me. They didn't listen to a word that I said. Has that happened? You know people like that? Maybe it's happened to you. And it's so painful. It's so painful. But I have seen parents of older kids do this, where the kids are little and they're totally unlike the parent. And the parent has no idea what to do with this child with this temperament, who's fiery. And they say things like, if I'd done that when I was a kid, what my parents would have done to me, that never would have flown. But okay, what are you going to do now? How are you going to show up for this kid? They're calling you to a higher level of being. They're saying, wake up. It's time to rise. It's time to elevate into belonging to you, into knowing that I'm not a part of you, into knowing that you got to belong to you so that you can teach me how to belong to me. That's what these kids are. And the butthead behaviors are telling us loud and clear, but so many of us are not hearing it. Okay, so the result of holding pitfall number 2, belief in our minds, is that we parent our kids based on what we need. Yuck, right? Think about that. I know I'm saying yucky things today, but I love you so much. And we just got to liberate ourselves as mothers. We cannot keep living under the rock of the way our parents raised us. It's not applicable anymore. It's not helpful anymore. It's so outdated. We can do things in a much more loving, much more in tune way, in ownership of our power. Meaning, I believe that our gifts as mothers of intuition, wisdom, and incredible deep love come from our connection to the divine, or our God self, or our connection to God, or whatever you call this. And that when we are cut off from that, we are trying to do it on our own power, which is like tripping and falling on our face every 2 seconds. I'm going to try to set a boundary. My kid's going to balk, and then I'm going to flip. What is that? That's disconnection from our higher self, disconnection from the divine. Okay, so if we want to remain open, right? Constriction is when we close, when we're pissed off, we close and we want to attack our kids and say, go to your room, whatever. Or if they're older, get out of the house, leave. I don't want you here. Those are moments where we just don't know what else to do. We don't suddenly not love our kids anymore, but we just are out of ideas. Energetically, our vibration, our frequency is too low to incorporate that connection with the divine in those moments. And so again, the butthead behaviors are like a big bell ringing and flashing to say, hey, let's elevate above this. We can do better. And your kid is saying, I'm calling you, I'm challenging you, because on a spiritual plane, you can do better than this. There is more for you here. And I want to show you what that is. And I truly believe that our kids are part of our soul family and our soul purpose. They belong to themselves, but we're intertwined. And so our purposes are intertwined. And so they're really showing us which steps we need help taking. And there's zero expectation that we can do it on our own. And the final piece is that if you find that you are really trying to take care of your own needs through your kids, like if you are, so how it shows up, you are trying to get them to do and be what you think is right. You are judging yourself harshly because of who they are or who they're being or what they're saying or how ugly they're being to you or how nasty. You think this is some reflection of your worth, that you're a crap parent. None of that's true. It's all BS. But to get from there to here, and here is like, there's freedom either way. They're going to be a little shit or they're going to love on you because of where they are that day, because of the mood they're having, because of their body chemistry, because of what you let them eat, because of how much sleep they got, because of the developmental brain burst that they're going through. They're going to be who they are. They're going to say what they need to say. They're going to be where they are. A couple things about that. The goal isn't to just be so zen that they can do and be whoever they are and, absolutely like be rude to you or be unsafe or wild and it doesn't bother you. That's not the goal. I just want to be totally clear. That's totally not the goal. The goal is that you're so tuned into you and your connection to your divine self, to your strength, to your resilience, to your clarity, to your creativity, that you're ready. And it doesn't take any energy. It takes a lot less energy, that kind of readiness, than how you're parenting from these pits, from these trenches. When you're parenting from these trenches, you are exhausted. It's so tiring. And because you're in self-doubt, you're in low vibrational energy, just leaking it all over the place. When you're in certainty that you pretty much are going to know what's best for your kids. You pretty much know you're the best mom for them. There are moments where you wobble, but you pretty much know that your job is to keep them safe, to help them know the truth of who they are, and for you to stay connected to the truth of who you are, right? To allow all that to happen. Allow it to happen. It's magical. It's miraculous when you're in allowing. And when you're there and the poop hits the fan, meaning they fly off the handle or they challenge you or they pick up the tug of war rope, you don't pick it up and you're not even tempted to pick it up and have a fight with them because you know things and are aware of things that keep you connected to your calm and you see them for who they are and you don't accept, tolerate, or allow the digs, the mudslinging, the hitting, the unsafe behaviors, the risky behaviors. You don't condone that. You're not condoning that. You take action by setting a boundary from a place of love. You take action to communicate from a place of love. You let go of the small stuff because you know it doesn't really matter. You are connected to your big picture of all is well, all is well, all is well. Even in this moment, this is just another step on the path to us being the abundant, connected family that is my vision that I'm calling in, that's on its way. Okay, and I would not expect any of us I would never have been able to get here alone. I would not expect any of us to be able to go from inside of a pit or 2 or 10 to being on this grounded place, to being on solid ground, to being connected to your intuitive self, to being anchored into your divine wisdom, to knowing how to speak to that, to knowing what it looks like when it shows up in moment to moment practical ways in parenting your kid age 2 or younger to 18. It's going to show up in the way that you specifically need it to show up. No one can tell you exactly what that is. All that someone can tell you is how to get yourself from where you are now to where you want to be, your vision. That piece is here. That piece, reach out to me if you're interested. If you want to change your situation, reach out to me. And I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you about it and let you know, see if it's possible and let you know how we do it. Every one of us can do it. Every one of us can do it. It is not something that is just for spiritual types or just for people with a strong faith, although it helps. It helps, but it can also get in the way. This is work that is about loving ourselves so deeply, so richly that we never compromise that for anything. We don't compromise it for kids' cranky behavior. We don't compromise it for a demand that a partner puts on us. We don't compromise it for those old patterns of what our mom taught us was being a good mom. No, we are fiercely connected to what is right and good for us and our families. We're creating that, and we know we're owning it. Okay. I'm going to invite you to, thank you so much for your comments. I see the comments. I'm going to invite you to ask any questions on the heels of this, any pitfalls related questions, or anything else you want to know. Go ahead and pop it in the chat now, and we will end with, I'm going to share with you the affirmation that I say daily for myself and for my children that connects me to peace, that sows peace in my household. And I want to encourage you all, everyone who watches this, to begin saying it. And I'm going to tell you how to use an affirmation properly. So you may call this a prayer, you may call this a mantra. You can call it what you want. You can write it in big letters and put it on your bathroom mirror or your kitchen cabinets or in the visor in your car for when you're driving to work. On your notes in your phone, I have put reminders in my phone with mantras and affirmations that were very powerful, energetic shifts for me. Everything that you are wanting is on the other side of you shifting your internal beliefs and removing the blocks that are in the way to you having, holding, being, doing now, having now, saying now, being now what you're wanting. That's when we can attract more of it. Okay, so any questions at all? Okay, what are my best tips for self-regulation? Hi, Kristen. What are my best tips for self-regulation? Well, there are so many. There are so many. What I would say about self-regulation is that rather than tips, because this is kind of the one big tip, I guess. Let me frame it that way. This is the one big tip, but it's bigger than a tip, is that in order to be able to regulate our emotions, we have to put together the whole system. So we have to incorporate our cognitive mind so that we can hold a focus. We have to incorporate our body, which is where our guidance shows up in our energy, in our body, and where energy gets trapped, like blocks and emotions that we haven't processed yet, or old trauma. And so the biggest path to self-regulation, which is another way of saying the biggest key to me being able to be in charge of my emotions, me being able to control how I feel and have ownership of that, is to take charge of healing my nervous system, take charge of focusing my thoughts, and take charge of owning my knowing, understanding my emotions, my emotional frequency. And I could say, like, focus your thoughts, or I could say, do this breath work to heal your nervous system. But in and of themselves, none of those tips will be transformational. None of those tips will actually create the results that all of us are wanting to be like, just chill mama, whatever. Like, so a kid threw a thing at the window and nearly broke it. Like, all right. And then you're going to take care of business and follow up and see what needs to be done. That's when when you know that you've really done the healing work, because those moments don't really get you. So, and rather than tip, I would say, we have to heal our nervous systems. We have to align our thinking and thoughts. That means releasing the old patterning, replacing those old faulty beliefs with ones that are completely aligned with our hearts now and the vision that we're wanting to create. I believe if we have any desire in our hearts, it means we can have it. There's nothing wrong with wanting beautiful things and a beautiful family. I hope that helps, Kristen. So a couple giant tools there, not tips. Ellen says, hi, Ellen. What do you do when you are deep in a pitfall but still need to get your kids out the door? Well, that's a good question. So you know that the pitfalls are the deep belief work that you're going to do. And they are impacting all of the moments of practical life. They're impacting getting your little one's shoes on to get out the door. They're impacting how you hold yourself to a certain schedule or deadline or whatever with your kids, and also at work and in your life. So whatever pit you're in is going to impact your day-to-day parenting in every way, in lots of ways, many ways. So this is a great question, because it gives me a chance to say, all you're going to have available to you in the moment of getting kids out the door is what the pitfall has taught you, is what the pitfall feels like. When you're in the pit and you have this swirl of thoughts and beliefs and judgments and limitations, you can only do that good at getting your kids out the door. You know what I mean? Anything else is like trying to mind over matter that stuff, or trying to muscle your way through with fake thoughts or affirmations or beliefs that aren't really true for you. So you're just going to be, I don't want to say you're just going to be a mess or it's going to be hard. It probably is. But if you're in the place of this sucks and they're being little shits and how they get like this, I didn't teach them this. If you're in that mentality, I'm not saying you are, but just anyone as an example, if you are in that mentality, or in that moment you're in that mentality, it is a that's a light bulb moment. That's a moment to show you, hey, this is where you're hanging out. This is the pit you're in. And you're in there all the time. If you are feeling that way in those moments, it's just an indication like, hey, get out of that. And for you have the tools, you have the skills. So when you see the pit show up, you know what to do to manifest your ladder and climb out. You know how to change those beliefs and alter those. So does that help? Laura says, thanks, Honor. Hi, Laura. This is so good for me to hear. I've come a long way, but I'm finding there's still more. Yeah, exactly. And Laura has worked with me in Awakened Motherhood. And Laura, that is like a piece to be grateful about. That is something to be so thankful that you can see, and that you can hold that you can hold all the amazing, miraculous shifts and changes, all the changes in your kids that you see, all of the changes in the way that you see and experience yourself and your life as a mom and your full-time parenting gig. You can cherish all that good stuff and go, oh my gosh, yes, there's more. There's more. And once you have the tools and you have the practices and you're not stuck in the pits anymore, it continues to get better and better and better, because you refine your skills, you refine your practices. At this point where you are fine tuning, and that just gets more and more fun. It just gets so freaking miraculous and fun. Okay, so Miranda, oh good, you have a 12-year-old, awesome, who has limit pushing behavior since a really young age. I battled cancer 7 years ago and a bit of losing my mind after. We've got him in a place where he's in all honors classes. Congratulations, that's amazing. And good grades and sports. He's an amazing athlete. There's so many celebrations there. And he's responsible with chores, but he steals. Okay. I was wondering what we're building up to. Okay. So spending. So he's spending. Is that the thing? Is it mostly just about money? Amazon. Wow, $200,000 of items. What's it going to do with it? And the most recent was stealing cash from you. Mm-hmm. How do you come up with a consequence that fits the crime? So these are big actions that he's taking. And it's not really into my guidance for you would be to, first of all, it sounds like you've done an incredible job and been through some really hard times. And so just sending you so much love and congratulations for all the victories, because those are really huge victories. And he's showing you something about a place where he's stuck. He's stuck in wanting to um, take. And I'm wondering if it's an addictive behavior. I don't want to get into diagnosing here on the Facebook Live, but it does make me really curious. And I'm wondering about why he's doing it. I'm wondering what it means to him to do it. I'm very curious, very, very curious about the behaviors. This isn't really, this is a different kind of conversation uh, from a kid made a bad choice that was of a smaller scale. And so there's either a natural consequence about it, or there's something that we agree that they need to give up or take away. You're into a different category with his age as well, because more freedom is coming. So you can't keep him on lockdown forever. And this is the thing that will put him at big risk for his future. Big risk. So we're more into a conversation of the real life natural consequences of these things, and just a big, deep curiosity about what is going on, as well as practical consequences of removing all access to everything. And that might get him into trouble, because it's for his best interest, and framing it that way. It's for his safety and for the safety of his future. But then you have to address the underlying thing, what's happening, what's going on, what's driving this behavior. We have to, as parents, we have to always ask, what's driving this behavior? We just have to, even if we're not curious by nature. I'm very curious by nature, which is why I became a psychotherapist. It's a good fit for me. But those of us who aren't naturally curious really have to challenge ourselves to stretch and grow and go, what's motivating this? To do that. I know a lot of parents are scared to do it because we don't want to see what's under there. We don't want to know what it has to say about us. You know what? Just go for it, because, and you're wondering about all that too. Go for it, because it's only going to add more to the picture, which is going to help you help him. And the best way to help our kids who are having a big struggle like this is to get so connected ourselves, so that we have access to our intuitive divine connection, to inspired ideas, and you got to get into a place of calm, out of worry and fear, to be able to do that. So hopefully you have tools for that and know how to do that. If you don't, reach out to me and we can talk about it more. But I hope that helps. It does feel like, and I'm also just wanting to say, reach out to me if you want more, because I probably need to hear a little bit more about what's going on to say more. So, but I'm really glad you asked the question. I love and appreciate when you're willing to ask your questions, and I love being able to help. So, okay, awesome. So, hi, Jen B. I'm so glad you're here too. I want to end with affirmation, and I see that I have loved on you all up to almost an hour. So I thank you for spending this time with me for the sake of you and your families, and bringing so much more light to this planet through motherhood and through our families, because when we hold light, then our children get to live in theirs, and that is a part of my highest purpose. So I'm really blessed to be here with you, and grateful that you're showing up for you. So I'm going to end by giving you my affirmation, and I wonder if I can type it in the chat. Maybe one of you can type it in the chat. So it goes like this, and I say it with hand on the heart, and I take a couple of breaths first, and I do this as a part of my larger practice, which I won't go into now, but the affirmation is, I am a blessing to my family, and my family is a blessing to me. You can also say it the other way. My family is such a blessing to me, and I am a blessing to them. So how do we say it so that we really connect with the words? so that we let it be our truth, so that we are filled up with the feelings of it. If you say this enough in quiet with your eyes closed, tuning into your body, you will create an energetic frequency, like we call it like a grid. You're laying the grid for feeling a new way about yourself as a mom and about your children. And we don't mean to, but we just do drag stories from yesterday into today until we are so consciously working on ourselves and our path every day that we stop doing that. We know that we're doing it and we move out of it, and we carry instead, we choose what we want to carry with us in our minds. This is one simple way you can carry something beautiful in your heart and in your body, so that when you interact with your kids, this feeling is already here. It's in the room, it's in your body, and they can receive it. So when they receive that feeling, then how great will it be for your kids to be like, I'm a blessing to my mommy. You can even say it out loud if they're little or if they're older, and they can make fun of you. If you have teenagers, I do say it out loud to my kids all the time too. My family is a blessing to me, and I am a blessing to my family. Okay, say it with me. Say it out loud when you say it. Write it down. Put it all over your house if it feels delicious. And to those of you who say it and it brings up sadness, it's okay. Let it flow through you. Let that emotion flow through your body. Take some time alone to process it and let yourself feel it. Allow yourself to feel what comes. And if there's grief, it's okay. And reach out to me if you want more help. Okay. All right. I look forward to hearing more questions and comments from those of you who will come and join later. And thanks, Ellen, for writing that down. And thanks, Lori, for writing that down. Perfect. And so let this be true for you today, is my prayer for you, that you hold this in your heart as your truth and that you affirm it as your truth. So much love to all of you. Reach out to me. You can book a call with me. I'll put the link down. If you're shy about that, you can ask me questions in the comments. You can PM me, but reach out if you want help. If you're really ready to climb out of these pits for good and change your situation, then we can talk about what that looks like. So much love to you. Have a beautiful Wednesday, and I will see you all soon.